That's right, we finally got them. The parts I was waiting for all this time, and they are... Oh, hang on a second. Warp 9s. Yeah, let's tear into these. That's pretty. Oh, that's nice. Ooh, that smells like rubber. Oh, these look so good. Oh, those look so pretty. How cool. Behold in all its glory, the Warp 9 set. Yeah, I stuck with kind of basics. You can change a lot of different colors on these, but I decided to stick with the black rims and just a little bit of color right here with the red hub, and nothing else for spokes and stuff like that. I don't really know what kind of color scheme I want to go with, or if I want to change things up in the future, so I figured this would be kind of a good baseline. And boy, does it look nice. I am just ready to throw this on the bike and just go for a rip. But as stupid fun as this is, we gotta make it look stupid fun, more so than this. And what better way to say stupid fun than stupid spoke wraps? That's right. I had pink spoke wraps on the old Supermoto, and this one is getting 11 rainbow colors. And so we're just gonna go all out with this thing and show everyone how stupid fun this is, and no better way to say stupid fun than with stupid spoke wraps. All right, let's see what we're working with here. Since it's rainbow, I can't just go throwing them all out at once. I gotta be a little organized about this. These are all in packs of 7. You'd think it'd be even, since we have an even number of spokes, but what do I know? Dark blue. And finally, Germany. Need a Roy G. Biv this thing. There we go. So now we have them all lined up in the correct spectrum, or at least as close as I can get. I want to just go individual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way across, or do I want to kind of put them in pairs? But I'm going to need 4 of those, and there's only 7 of each color, which means I'll be short 1 for the other, and it'll just be scraps. So, dang, I wanted to bunch these up. We'll just start going one at a time. Around the wheel we go. Done! Finally! My god, my fingertips hurt. Oh, I can't get over how dumb this looks. And by dumb, I mean it's brilliant. It's fantastic. Everyone will be jealous of me. Anyway, time to put this on the bike. Yes! Alright, so a couple things we're gonna have to do, both front and rear, but we'll focus on the front first. This guard needs to come off. Rotors are too big for that. And forks are gonna have to come off. The fork guards, that is. These wrap around and inside, so there's not gonna be as much of a clearance here. So we're going to have to cut these to make them fit. Also gonna have to reroute the brake lines to the outside because these will be rubbing up against the rims. And we're gonna have to put in a bracket they gave us for this to push it out a little bit, again, for the wider rotors. Let's go take all this stuff off so we can put this on. So tearing through this, I don't remember if I mentioned or not, but this has to have a relocation bracket. Basically, this is the OEM one and it connects to the brake caliper here. And this is the one that's being replaced. And so basically there's a post right here that you need to drill into this, and then it kind of slides up and down on this to allow for some movement, some play for the brakes there. So this is all set up, and then I have to put the brake pads back in, and then we'll get the wheel lined up first, I think, and then we'll attach this in there just to make sure everything seats okay. So let's keep going. Whew. Okay. Progress obviously has been made. Sorry, it's been like 2 hours and I just kind of rolled with it and didn't even bother to turn on cameras. I just wanted to get this done as soon as possible. I want to go out there and ride, let's be honest. But let's take a breather, hold, stop for a second, and see what we've done thus far. So, we put the rear on, we put the front on. Let's go back to the front actually. This has been mounted. This bracket has been relocated, or added, I should say, and all that's torqued down. Fork guards are not on there yet. We'll get to that in a second. Rear. Took off the guard up here and had taken this down, got the old stuff off, got the old chain off, put the new one on, and put this new chain to kind of go with the sprockets here, because these are a little smaller, so I'm going to need a smaller chain. So these are DID, I don't even remember what they are. I'll put it up on the screen, because these ones, you do have to be aware that these don't just take any old 520 chain. So in the front, that front sprocket is really close to the engine case, and so any kind of standard chain that's a little bit wider, or I guess standard width, will eventually rub on that chain, and potentially if you have a thick one, it'll cut into that. That's bad news. So I got a narrow chain, or narrower chain, to complement this. Actually, the kit, the Worm 9 kit, actually came with a shim for that front sprocket to push it out just a little bit. It's not very thick, but just enough. And so I put that in too, just to be safe, and ran it through, and it looks like it clears just. But it shouldn't have any rubbing issues. We'll definitely keep an eye on that for future riding. Now, put the chain on, got that all tightened up, got this all torqued down, and this is pretty much ready to go. Now, back to the front. So, as I said earlier, these have to be cut like this. So, this one I have not cut yet, but you can see I made a little mark there, and basically just gonna go from there all the way to the edge. I actually was so into it that I went ahead and cut this one. So it's basically cut in the same spot. So pretty much all that I need to do really is just make the same cut here, trim it up, clean it up, and fit it to the bike. I think I'll put this one on first, just to make sure that this is enough, and then we'll make the exact same cut right here and put it back on as well, and we'll be done. Then we can go ride. Okay, I'm exhausted, but look at that, they clear. They're not 100% lined up, but whatever. I don't think anyone's really gonna notice. Although these things are put in by 3 bolts, except this one cannot get that in there. Even just threading in with my finger or anything like that, it's way too narrow. I have to wait until the wheel comes off in order to get that one back in. But these two are nice and snug, shouldn't go anywhere. But look at that, spins. Brakes work, the chain is all lubed up, everything's tightened down. Well, oops, I have to put that chain guard on, so that's the last step. Once we have that on, though, once we have it on, this is ready to ride. Ooh, look at that. This looks so good. Oh, man. Oh, that looks great. It's never going to be that bright. From the second I ride this, it's going to immediately get gummed up. But I don't care, because this thing is ready to go on its maiden voyage. So let's see. Now, there's a couple of things I got to be wary of. Multiple things. First of all, just making sure that all this clears. Yeah, it's all good and well on the stand, but you got to ride it. You know, things move. The swing arm goes up and down. The forks go up and down. So I'm gonna keep an ear out for any noises, any grinding, rubbing, anything like that. On top of that, these are new tires that they came mounted. So I also have to be wary of that the tires are a little bit slick. And also the fact that these wheels were just assembled and shipped to me, so it did come with some kind of break-in procedures. Basically just kind of ride it around for about 20 miles or so, and I have to check all the spokes to make sure they're all tensioned correctly. And I think I actually have to do like 3 rounds of that. So right now I'm just taking it nice and easy. We're just kind of cruising through the neighborhood, low speeds to make sure there's no rubbing, because if there is rubbing, I'd rather it be on a low speed road than getting up to like highway speed or something. Feels good so far though. The rear does sound a little chattery actually, now that I think about it. That might be the lower chain guard. Okay, here's a downhill. We'll go down it. We'll just kind of listen. There is a slight rub. So there was a slight kind of rhythmic rub. And I think it is what I was saying earlier was the lower chain guard. I think the master link, just because that's a little bit thicker, is rubbing up against it. Well, we're back. It was a very quick run. I want to make sure everything is perfect on this, and if there is any kind of clearance issues or rubbing or anything loose that I might have forgotten, then we should address that as soon as possible. So it's back up on the stand, and as you probably heard in the ride video as well, there was a ticking noise somewhere in the chain area here. What we're gonna do is just kind of rotate this throughout the whole revolution of the chain and just kind of listen at specific points and make sure that there's no rubbing, or tamp down that rubbing I should say, and make sure wherever that spot is that we can kind of open it up a little bit, so that way we can just make this 100%. So let's take a look at the chain and just kind of roll through things. Look at that, I proved my point already. One of the chain adjuster bolts right here is completely loose. I obviously forgot to tighten those down. So glad I checked it, but we'll tighten that, make sure it does not move. So I also think I found the chain rubbing issue here. So here's the master link, and I suspected that this was the rubbing point because this is the thickest point of the chain and things can be a little tight. And so we'll put it up just a little bit, but I think the issue is right here. So the plastic on this lower chain guide I think is just a little tight. So what I'll do is I'll roll it here with the chain just normally going through, and then I'll roll it again with the master link, and hopefully the camera will be able to pick up that difference in the sound there. So here's the first one. And now with the chain. I don't know if the camera picked that up. It's very slight, but maybe if I back it up, you can hear it. I think it's the back side of this master link is rubbing up on the plastic, because the front actually clears pretty well. There's about like 1/8 of an inch gap or something like that in the front, but the back, it rubs a little bit. We'll just take this off, kind of file away some of the plastic, that's fine, and that way it doesn't make those noises. Well, and there we have it. See that? That's rubbing right there. This is the other side, mirror image, and that's perfectly fine. But this one is clearly been rubbed on. So that is our culprit. So probably this one too. Probably get a file in there, I have a little one, and we'll just wear this thing down just a little bit to clear things. We have some thickness here that we can work with, so we can easily notch that out, no problems. And no ticking. Perfect. So the rear half is completely checked, and I think everything looks good. We'll do another run to make sure. And so now let's take a look at the front. So there weren't any clearance issues with this, but there was the trouble of not having this bolt on the frame guard. And while at the time I said, yeah, it's fine, there's 2 more here, it still has a little bit of flex in it, and it wasn't rubbing on it. I didn't see any evidence of it rubbing on the plastic, but it worried me just a little bit. I'd rather that be in there. And so before I put the frame guards back on, I'm just gonna go ahead and take the wheel off and then put the fork guards on, so that way I can get this bolt in here and just make sure that that's okay. It doesn't rub on this, hopefully, and it's just there, and I'll know that it's connected in all 3 points down here and that there's no extra chance of it kind of pushing itself into the tire at all. And just like that, the bolt is back. Looks really close, but I think we're good here.
All right, second test. Oh, that's perfect. I don't hear a thing. I think that was it. All I really had to do was just kind of shave off that lower chain guard just a little bit. You know, since putting the street tires on, I was hoping I'd be able to say, man, it feels so smooth compared to the dual sport setup, but actually, it kind of feels the same, which is weird to say, but I think that says more about the dual sport tires that come on this bike rather than the street setup. Well, we done did it. We done did it, guys. This bike looks so good in Supermoto trim. Oh, I can't get over how awesome it is. I am over the moon. This is such a fun bike with these tires. Oh, I can really just tear up the streets with this thing. So I've been putting a lot of miles on it tonight. I've been basically riding it all night, and I think the lower chain guard here was the only issue that we had. I don't hear anything else. No noises that I shouldn't expect to hear. Definitely broke in the tires tonight with the miles I put on it thus far, and I think everything else looks pretty good. The chain is okay. That might need to be tightened later on with even more miles on it, but everything works perfectly. There's no noises, there's no grinding, rubbing, anything. The brakes are all good, the drive is good, everything's good. Everything is good, guys. Look at this. I can't get over it. The rainbow, I just can't get over how crazy that looks. It's so fun. It just gives it a little bit of pop, a little bit of fun, a little bit of flair. I mean, it's already getting gummed up with the miles that I put on it so far, but who cares? I'll clean it up later. It's so good. All right. I'm gonna go enjoy this even more though, because the night is still young-ish. So let's tear it up. See you guys.